Are you anticipating making an offer to purchase a house or a condo soon? Well, there are a few things that you need to make sure you're prepared for just as soon as you get that property under contract. Hi, I'm Amy Brossette with Keller Williams in Austin, Texas. I wanted to talk to you about, as a buyer, what do you need to be prepared for as soon as you have made an offer on a house that has been accepted. There are a few just critical steps that you have to be ready to do, hit the ground running as soon as you have that house. Number one, and really you should have already done this, have all of your financial documents in order and ready, prepared for your lender. Even if you already have that pre-approval, which you should before going under contract, you will still have to give updated documents, pay stubs, tax returns. Have all of those documents ready for your lender if you haven't already given those to them. And then as soon as you have the executed contract, that's where both buyer and seller have signed all of the documents and agreed to all the same terms. The next thing that you need to do as the buyer is pay your option fee and your earnest money. And if you have questions about option fee and earnest money, check out one of my other YouTube videos that explains that. You will be having your option fee and earnest money, and the amounts vary. And you need to have those to the title company within 3 days of the executed contract. So starting April 1st, you as the buyer get to have both of those fees go directly to the title company. That's a new change for our Texas contracts. Your option fee, it's always a negotiable amount, could be anywhere from $300 to $5,000. It depends on the price point of the house and the area that you're in. And then your earnest money in Texas is typically 1% of the purchase price. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower, but not usually lower. And those will need to be either taken to the title company in a personal check, the form of a personal check, or you can do a wire transfer. Some title companies are now accepting forms of payment such as Zelle transfers from banks. So you just have to check and see what that specific title company will accept. The next thing you need to make sure you do, be prepared to schedule your inspections. What type of inspections? Well, that also depends on the type of property you're purchasing. You would need to have your general home inspector scheduled, irrigation system inspected, if the property has a pool. If the property has a boat dock, you would want to have that inspected. If it has a well, maybe you're out on some acreage, you would want to have the well inspected. And a wood destroying insect inspection. So all of those vary on obviously the type of property that you're purchasing. If you are purchasing maybe a smaller property or a condominium, your general inspection might cost about $450. If you are doing a property that has all of the things, the pool, the septic, all of that, you could be spending $1,000 to $2,000 on inspections. It really just depends. If the property has a septic system, then the septic system needs to be pumped, which is generally paid for by the seller. You would have needed to negotiate that in your contract. And then the pumping company, septic inspector usually coordinate so that they work together to have the system pumped. The inspector is there to look at the tanks when they're empty, and then it's filled again with water so that they can make sure that there are no cracks in the tanks. So that takes some coordination as well. Your realtor can usually give you some good recommendations on local companies that provide those services. When you have your inspection day, you would want to be prepared to, if you can at all possibly, be at the property during at least the last hour of your inspection, because this is a valuable time for you to be able to get a lot of your questions answered right there with the inspector in the house. So they won't have the written report for you for about another 24 hours, but the inspector will walk you through the property and they'll point out different things that they think are concerns. You can ask them questions on, is it a safety concern? Is it a health hazard concern? Or is it just something that you need to watch and needs to, maybe be fixed, repaired down the line? Another thing you might want to do during the day of the inspection, especially if this is an owner-occupied home, you may not have other opportunities to go back to the house prior to purchasing it. And if you want to have any contractors meet you there that day, maybe you're going to have the house, maybe the walls are purple and you don't like purple. And you're going to want to have the interior of the house painted right when you take possession. Well, so you might want to have a painting contractor meet you at the property that day during the inspection time so that they could take measurements and be able to provide you a quote, so that you could be prepared to have the painters there right after you close, or a flooring company. All of that take care of on inspection day. Another thing that you would want to do is, after the inspection reports have been given to you, typically takes about 24 hours, then you and your realtor sit down and you look through those things and you decide what are the most critical items that need to be addressed, either prior to closing, repairs, or things that the seller will either reduce the price of the house for or give closing costs to the buyer in lieu of the seller completing repairs. And things to focus on. You want to focus on mechanical items such as your HVAC system and furnace, major appliances, the condition of the roof, and structural soundness of the property, and plumbing. All of those things are really critical, and focus on those items. Don't get distracted by, the gutters are full of leaves. You know what I mean? That's when you're spending $500,000 on a home, you can probably clean out the leaves from the gutters. So don't get distracted by the small things. Focus on the larger things and use those in your repair negotiations. Your option period ends at 5 p.m. on your last day of your option period. Repairs don't have to be completed during the option period. If a seller is going to have repairs completed, they usually have, most of the time, that the property is under contract to get the repairs completed and then provide the paid invoices to show that the repairs were completed. And those can be done while, the repairs can be done while the home is under contract. Those are the most critical things to have taken care of and be planning on right when you first go under contract. And it's usually, option period depends on the market. Right now in Austin, we're seeing option periods anywhere from, 3 and 4 days, which is really fast, to 7 days, 8 days. In a slower paced market, you might have 10 days, or if it's a farm and ranch property, you might have 2 weeks. It really just kind of depends on the set of circumstances that are given. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have, please like my video. And if you want to have any other information about buying and selling real estate in the Central Texas area, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks a lot and have a wonderful day.